You've heard us talk about them. They're in, and they're on the website.
Absolutely. Our brand new America's Diesel podcast, branded bills, badass, flex fit, performance material, sweat stain resistant. It literally feels like it cools your head.
I don't know how that's
amazing.
possible, but somehow it is. Yeah, you can rock it. You know, I'm more of a flat bill kind of guy. You can do that. You can curve it. For all you taco holder guys, you can even throw that in there.
Yeah.
And then snap back with a little bit of the flex fit.
Yeah.
Big head approved, small head approved.
And it's extremely comfortable. I almost guarantee, I say almost guarantee. No, I guarantee this is the most comfortable hat you will ever wear. And the logo, rubber. Awesome.
Yeah.
Came out great.
Super detailed rubber on there, so it's never going to fade on you. If you want to get one of these in your hands, they are $50, shipped to the lower 48, plus tax, if applicable in your state. Just go on the dieselpowerproducts.com, search hat, look for the fantastic Jam and Eagle logo, and pick yourself up some before they're out of stock.
Yeah.
You're listening to America's Diesel Podcast. Yeah, so my son officially started sandbagging his teacher, which, yeah. The kid's been he's been able to count to 100 by ones for nearly a year now. And his teacher finally was doing like the half year assessment or whatever, so she sat down and asked him to count to 100, and he just straight up said, I can only go to 29.
Wait, so do we not do an intro?
This is the intro. You're part of it's live right now.
This is great. This is live action.
Yeah. And so she's and she's looking at him, and she's like, because she knows him. Obviously, my wife's across the hall. It's like I have a video of him when he like had half his teeth, and he's like counting to 100, and he can count by tens, and he can multiply, and he can like, and also
Basically, he's a genius.
Prodigy child. He's freaking smart, but I can only count to 29. And okay, and then they get his paper out that he beforehand. Yeah. They told him to write as many numbers as he could. He wrote all the way to 34. Yeah. So, even then, it's like,
listen, bitch, I know how this game works.
If I give you the smart answers, you're gonna give me the hard work.
Yeah, nice.
I'm gonna sandbag this son of a bitch.
All right, learn him young,
dick. I love this kid. We always told him, like, you want people to assume you just don't know how to read. Yeah. That's the level of intelligence you want to portray to people out there. Yeah. You may be a very smart person. Yeah. But I don't know how to read. Yeah. I just guess a lot.
Yeah. That works. This week's podcast episode is brought to you by Fuel Bomb Diesel Additive, an additive designed for diesel enthusiasts, made by diesel enthusiasts. Ben, take it away.
Hell yeah, dude. So this is our in-house Fuel Bomb fuel additive for your diesel truck. Our biggest thing here is making sure that you can pretty much always have diesel additive on you all the time. You've got a lot of other additives out on the market that they have, anti-gel in there all the time. They have cetane in there all the time. They end up being big and bulky bottles. Our standard everyday diesel fuel additive is 1 ounce per 32 gallons, and that's its main job is to make sure that your fuel system stays lubricated and prevents the formation of algae. And it should also help you in colder climates too.
Should definitely help you in colder climates. Along with cleaning your fuel system and maintaining it, it'll also help you bump that cetane number up for a more efficient burn of your diesel fuel. And if cetane is just what you're after, there's the Fuel Bomb Hellfire, which is our straight 8+ cetane enhancer.
Yeah, and you guys asked, and we brought them back. We did go away from the bottles that didn't have the measuring little parts in there. We brought them back for you, so now you can measure out your 1 ounce per 32 gallons for the F-Bomb or 4 ounces per 32 gallons for the Hellfire.
Both these additives are available on our website, dieselpowerproducts.com. Now let's get back to that episode.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. You can see there's a very handsome man between me and Tyler. If you can't see them, you can hear him. Ash, breathe into the mic. That's good.
You want me to breathe heavier?
Yeah.
Like through my mouth, though?
Yeah, let's check out that lung capacity.
Yeah. That's there. It's healthy.
Imagine you just took a really, really big bite of really dry, crunchy granola and you're just like suffocating for air. Give me one of those breaths.
It's like a Nutrigrain bar.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, what's the point of a Nutrigrain bar? It just falls apart on you.
Yeah.
That's my life.
Drier than the Sahara.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is America's Diesel Podcast. We've got Ashford West in here, special guest. Thanks for tuning in. You can check us out on all normal podcast venues, Google Play, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, by searching America's Diesel Podcast. You can also check us out on the social medias. We are trying to pump our Instagram up. We just recently passed 1,000, which is awesome. That's ran by me, so you're not going to get hit with any kind of random stuff. Probably get hit with probably not enough stuff because I don't post on there enough. But we do go live on there just about every Wednesday right around 5 p.m. Pacific time. Come up here with the boys, talk a little bit of shit, see what's going on, see your projects going on, have a good time. Tyler, reviews.
Oh, yeah. Keep those reviews coming in. Leave a 5-star review on any of the platforms that Ben mentioned earlier. Screenshot that and send it to podcast@dieselpowerproducts.com. Make sure to include a picture of your truck and an address so we can send a decal to. It looks just like the logo on our hats and that beautiful eagle behind Ash's beautiful face.
I like that. That's a pretty good logo, really.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
I had a pharmacist. Pharmacist, like, I've been looking for a new podcast. I'm going to keep talking shit about this guy until he actually listens. And he's going I'm going to go in there for a prescription. And he's going to be like, oh.
Every time his accent becomes more apu.
Like, I've been looking for a new podcast. I'm like, oh, shit. Never heard of these guys. I don't know. Found this hat on the side of the road.
Yeah. That ain't us, cuz. Lastly, if you need parts, if you just pick up, make sure and check out DPPSales.com. We got tons of parts in stock, ready to rock. If you see that quick ship logo, you can be assured that it is in stock on the shelf, ready to go. And if you are a podcast listener, which if you're listening to this, congratulations, you're a podcast listener, make sure and let your salesman know. Or in the notes section of the order, make sure and write podcast. Receive absolutely nothing monetarily except special attention from me should an issue arise. And yes, I do give those special attention. I'm 1,000% serious.
Excellent with it.
So good with the special attentions. Yeah. And if you have questions, if what you're wanting to order, make sure and talk to one of our knowledgeable sales technicians. They're on the phones 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. And the very, very last part of the intro is if you're listening to this podcast and you're buying diesel parts from anywhere else but Diesel Power Products, I do want to know why. Good, bad, happy, or sad. Truthfully, I do want to know because we want to be the best in the industry. And if you're spending your time, which is money, listening to us and not buying from us, there's a missed connection there. So we want to be the best in the galaxy, man.
Yeah.
The freaking cosmos, all of it.
Yeah. All of them.
Yeah. So the gentleman we have sitting between Tyler and I, his name's Ash West. He's been working at the Power Products umbrella since, was it like January, February 15?
2015, yeah. A couple months after you.
Yeah, me and Ash I consider us the same class coming in after Tyler. Actually, quite a bit after Tyler.
Pretty much everybody's after me.
Yeah, I know.
Except we're like two people.
Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
I'm just like that. Just that creep in the back that just doesn't go home or something. I don't know.
There's been a couple of times where people have referred to like me as like quote unquote OG. Usually it's people outside the company.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, yeah, that ain't me, dog. And you start thinking about like, shit, I have been here for a while.
Yeah.
I guess to you, I'm an OG, but like if I said OG around people here, they'd be like, get out of here, youngin'.
Yeah.
You don't know shit.
Yeah, but we're like part of the established crew.
Definitely established. I mean, we're knocking on 10 years.
Yeah, if you're knocking on 10 years, that's you're established.
Yeah.
You could I would say you're getting close to OG.
I'm getting closer.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, getting close.
Yeah, Ashford West has worn a couple different hats there. Originally came on as a salesman, just like I did, and has now branched over and is heading up and is the off-road Power Products man. Like as in there's one. And it's him. Ashford's stress level is like 69,000.
Yeah. I wear many hats still.
Yeah.
I wear many shoes.
At least 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3. But, and don't be scared. We didn't bring Ashford on because we just want to make fun of Granola. Ashford does have some diesel experience. He's had a pretty rowdy truck. He's had a diesel experience with his family through construction or excavation.
Let's just rewind it a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been on this podcast in Tyler's seat.
Yeah.
At
the very beginning.
The very beginning, like episode 3 or 4
and then
or something
me and
like that.
Ash did one.
Yeah.
Without you.
I was in Jamaica, barfing my brains out.
Yeah.
So this isn't like my first rodeo here.
For a lot of people, they probably have
Tuned in since then.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Because episode 3, we were garbage. We were cold garbage. Now we're hot garbage.
Yeah.
So Ashford, give me the short version of your quick life history. How you ended up working here.
Like, how far back are we going?
Start from a baby.
Like, are we
I'd say-
starting like how I got into
I was going to say
tires?
start from when you realized you had a mechanical aptitude, but that was basically when you were about 4. So start at 4.
Start at 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So my background, my family owned, my grandfather coming out of World War II started a construction company doing dirt work, whether it be building roads, stuff like that, just heavy construction primarily. So he started up that just because he's always had kind of a niche for moving dirt, changing landscape. He did it when he was a kid, even for his mom moving dirt for gardening and things like that. So he always liked it. So when he got out of the war, that's what he started up and became very, very successful with it and ended up passing it down to one of his sons, my uncle. My dad was the lead diesel mechanic there. So he took care of all the diesel equipment, primarily heavy, but a lot of 18-wheeler stuff as well for transportation, service tech, lube tech, you name it. He kind of like me, wore a lot of hats. But that's how I grew up into it. So I kind of was born on the back of a service truck, riding around, wrenching on things, learning all about mechanics. And he was a big, passionate, my dad was pretty passionate on the side as well for just automotive, hot rod, motorcycle, 2 wheels, Harleys, anything that had an engine in it, he was all about it. So it kind of just came naturally. I just fell into it. But moving forward from there, he was also big in the off-road side. So he liked going off-roading, always had like K5 Blazers and K-Series pickups and things like that.
The good stuff.
Back in the, 70s, 80s. And then through the 90s when I was born, he had CK Series trucks and still had older K-Series trucks. So we spent a lot of time in the woods, in the mountains, whether it be on 2 wheels or 4 wheels. That's just what we did. And then anytime we were at home, we'd be wrenching on cars, Chevelles, building small block Chevys, just kind of like the cliche automotive kid where you kind of just touched everything. But sparked interest in me, so I just kind of carried that on. When I turned 16 and got my first truck, I got a 4-wheel drive Toyota pickup and started modifying it. And then my first job was in the off-road industry at a local shop called Central 4-Wheel Drive, and became overwhelmingly passionate about it to where I started modifying that rig and then got into it doing work. I was building other people's vehicles. I was doing side work, doing custom fabrication and tube work and building bumpers. And I've been in and out of just about any vehicle on the road when it comes to the engine, transmission, differentials, fabrication, all of the above. But that led into power products.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at that previous place for, I want to say about 8 years. And then I saw a listing here at Power Products that they were looking for sales tech. I kind of wanted to get away from wrenching on things and just wanted to change a pace. So I applied and got it. And here I am. I mean, there's a lot more to it. That's the 90-second elevator speech.
Yeah.
Was that when we were off of Sullivan when you got hired?
Yeah, we were off Sullivan there. So.
Yeah.
But just a ton of background in just about everything from heavy diesel equipment to automotive to hot rod to a lot of motorcycle stuff, and then a ton of time outdoors, just off the grid camping, doing stuff like that. So I just naturally fit well in that kind of area. It comes secondhand. I don't really have to think about it. So I think I bring a lot to the table there. And I mean, I guess we're all kind of the same here when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of the same core knowledge on stuff like that, but then we all end up kind of having our own little facets that we're better at. It makes for a very well-rounded team.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So those crazy Duramax guys, that crazy Indian we got.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when I was like messing around with like 4-wheel drive rigs, because I was like the kind of like some of the, well, not necessarily the first rigs I was messing with, but like in high school, like everybody wants to go do like a bonfire and whatnot. You want to have like a rig that can get up there.
Yeah.
I was always scared to go into Central 4-wheel drive. I never went in there. I've never stepped foot in that building.
Yeah. Well, they're not around anymore.
No, yeah, but it was like, I don't know if it's the same in the off-road industry as it is with like it's a little intimidating when you like don't have shit and you have like a freaking Ford Bronco too. You like roll up into there, you know what I mean? Like now we kind of like look at people like that. You're just like, oh, dude, you need to pick a different rig, you know, or something. but like I was always scared to go into central 4-wheel drive because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get my shit torn up by these people.
They will laugh about
they
you
will
when you
laugh
leave.
about yes. When I leave, yes, I'm going to be talked about for at least 10 to 15 minutes after that. True? False.
Yeah. But you've had I want to talk about your truck, your single cab for a little bit here.
All right.
Because obviously this is a diesel podcast, so we got to make sure we get a little bit of diesel in there before we spiral off into Granola and Sunsets and Sasquatch and shit like that.
I love to talk about
It's all the
Sasquatch.
stuff I'm super passionate about.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, as people know by one of our previous episodes, Tyler is very passionate about what's going on in between Sasquatch's legs. And
No, you brought that up.
I did not bring that up.
Corey, he brought up the dick size, not me.
No. I brought up whether it was like, do you think it's just like a really hairy man dick or Red Rocket? And you're like,
And I said
it's small.
I said it's a small dick.
It's small.
Okay, let's
I
clear
feel like
up.
we've talked about this before, though. Like a dog dick, like Red Rocket
Yeah,
dick. Or
yeah.
like, yeah, I guess
But
so.
either way, Tyler's like, I bet she's just abnormally small, though.
I think it's just a hairy small.
Anyways, let's get past
It's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later. Anyways, your diesel truck.
Ash had a pretty rad single cab long wheel manual truck that we've referred to a couple of times. In my opinion, it's still my favorite like party truck. Ash, tell me about your single cab.
This truck had 2 seats and 4 tires. Kind of humble about it because it's just another pickup. And I don't really, I don't know. I don't like tooting my own horn, but it was a cool truck. I mean, it had a lot of cool parts on it. What do you want me to tell them?
I remember when Cooper showed up with that truck because it was Cooper's.
Yeah.
And we're like, he shows up with it. We're like, the fuck? Cause it was like, what are you doing?
My favorite story is when Cooper talks about pulling up to his house with that truck. Because he's got 3 kids.
Yeah,
and he
like-
bought a single cab truck and then immediately took out the middle seat.
It's just like, I don't, yeah.
So I guess let's rewind a little bit here. So the purpose of that truck when he purchased it was we were really starting to blow up in the diesel world, and the company was starting to become kind of steamrolling, becoming more successful, and we were really still, those guys still being passionate about the off-road side, is we wanted to combine both things, which we had a diesel Jeep prior to that. We had a Jeep Wrangler that we had a 4BT Cummins in, and we've dipped into that, but really to like hit that truck crowd, you had to have a truck. So what are your options for a diesel truck that's still capable off-road? Well, you don't think of a mega cab, long box truck, not that they make them, but you know what I'm getting at. But he wanted to grab the smallest available kind of diesel pickup that's still solid axle front and rear. I mean, definitely not a Duramax. So your options were at that time a single cab Ram with a 6.7 Cummins. Or you could get one with the 5.9 as well. But he went out and bought a brand new truck. Unfortunately, they did not make them in a short box, which we later made our own with Howitzer. But that's kind of the story of the truck, was to buy a truck that was going to be used for off-road use, the smallest cab possible. And that was the best option, on the market at that time. And then...
And a manual.
Yeah,
He really wanted a manual.
Yeah, manual.
Yeah.
It kind of fell in line with exactly what I was looking for when we ended up using it in 2014 Ultimate Adventure. So it did get some pretty cool parts on it prior to me picking it up. Cooper bought it, kind of decked it out with some new stuff and some new suspension system and some components that hadn't been out on the market yet. So we kind of did what we do with all of our trucks and demoed some things. And at that point, he wanted to move on because you kind of got to haul your family, and I didn't. So, yeah, I picked it up at that time and carried its legacy and ended up modifying it further than where he had it and replaced a lot of the parts, which kind of a funny story is when I picked it up is he had started to return it back to stock so that he could actually sell it. So I ended up buying the pickup mostly stock and then buying all the old parts to replace and put them back on the truck after they were just removed. So, yeah, What do you want to know?
Yeah, so it was a fun truck. Is a single cab, long bed. I think I had a South Bend dual disc clutch in it.
Is that 16? Is that what it was?
It was a 13.
It was a 2013.
Was it 13?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
because it was a 13 2500 4 lane
control
front.
arm.
Yeah.
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 Ended up
6.7
having
manual.
a 369 in it. Party. Stock injectors, stock CP3.
So when I picked it up,
intake manifold.
yeah, I picked it up. The engine was 100% stock. The only thing done performance-wise on the truck that Coop did previously to me was a South Bend street dual disc, 650 horse rated clutch, and it had been re-geared. So that had been the only thing done performance-wise. So at that point, I replaced all the suspension on it, went back to quad tube bypasses in the rear, had some 3-inch Fox DCs in the front, long-armed. Every possible component you could throw at the suspension was on it. So it was pretty rad on the suspension department and axle department for that matter. It was sleeve, truss, free spin kit, ball joints, everything you could throw at it.
So for those of you, when he says 3.0 shocks on there, 3-inch shocks, we're talking about like the shock diameter tube. Just for frame of reference, most of you guys rolling around, they're like, I got big shocks. Those are 2.5-inch shock diameter guys. Most of you guys are 2.5s.
Most of them were 2.
Yeah, most of them were 2.
2.0s, yeah.
These are 3. And then did you see it 4s in the back?
It had a 3.5-inch quad tube bypass, 14-inch shock in the rear.
There's like a fucking French horn trumpet in the back.
Yeah, on each side. The rear had roughly, I want to say 21 inches of travel in the rear.
Some soft ass Deaver springs.
Yeah,
with
super
a long
soft.
travel shackle.
Soft Deaver springs that were custom built for that truck. And then, yeah, had geared appropriately. The truck was on 40s at the time and ran 42s on it for a short period of time. And when I picked it up, I wanted to make it more of my daily driver. So I went back down to a 37 just because I didn't want to cruise around on 40s and eat up 40s commuting. Mainly because to be my daily driver at the time.
Well, and you also took off the super aggressive fiberglass, on the front.
Yeah, it had Fiberworks front fenders. So they were like a 6-inch or 7-inch bulge
just
fender.
the biggest fucking bulge you could put on. It's like cut back all the way to the cab.
Yeah. So to fit, this is prior to like AEV suspension kits to where they relocated the axle forward. So this truck had a Synergy long arm kit on it, which we did push the front axle as far forward as we could without running into the differential hitting the track bar and all sorts of fitment issues there. But running a 42, we ended up having to cut the firewall a little bit and do a lot of massaging, if you will, to the inner fenders to try to make everything fit. But I went with a smaller fiberglass fender on it. It was like a 3-inch bulge to just make it more streetable and less Gumby looking.
And then you made some inner fender liners. It ended up looking very clean on the front. It was a very, very tasteful glass front end.
Yeah. I didn't finish it completely. I still had filler panels for under the front headlights and stuff like that I wanted to wrap up, but I ended up selling it after kind of getting the body work done. But from there, I went into the performance side of it, and I wanted just like that perfect, well-rounded truck. Like if you could throw unlimited amount of money into drivetrain and performance, but still keep it streetable, that was my goal. Obviously, having connections here and having the knowledge that we did helped a ton, and a lot of manufacturers helped out as well with the build process. But it ended up being a cool truck. It was, as far as you said, a 369. I did everything pretty much single on it. I want to do a single turbo. I was going to do a single injection pump. Pretty much keep it as simple and reliable as possible, which was like the whole, lack of better words, like the mission statement of the truck itself was just dependable and reliable. I wanted to have the truck had manual windows, manual transmission. I wanted to just keep everything as manual as you possibly could without going to a 12 valve pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turned out pretty good. I was happy with it. It was a fun truck. You got to ride around in it.
Yeah, I had some good passenger time in that truck. It was fun work. That was where I got my first hands on doing any sort of turbo stuff on a 6.7. When we did the second end swap on it, that was fun. But yeah, that truck was I remember taking it for a test drive with just the downpipe on it. And right after we got the 369 on there, it's like you're driving.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. You and I both, oh, that's a lot. My goodness, that thing came alive real hard.
Yeah, that thing, I don't know what it was, but that truck just, I think it had more to do with the manual. Because if you threw that same Charger on a smaller, or like an automatic truck, it would be total dog shit. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be terrible driver. But this truck, just the way between the tire and the gearing and then the manual trans being able to load up the Charger, it was incredible. It was a lot of fun. It would bark 37s, third, fourth gear, and truth be told, the reason why I got rid of it is because I kept seeing 6.7 Conrod failure and shit blow up and like window blocks. And I was like, I got to stop while I'm ahead. I don't have that kind of money at this time to throw into this engine. My goal was eventually to get it to around 800 horse. And I stopped just shy of 700. I think it did like 660 or something like that.
But it was a very rowdy 6 1/4 or whatever. I think it was 635, 640. I can't remember exactly what it was, but the torque number was like
1600.
yeah.
Just through the
The thing
freaking
put
roof.
down.
No,
Yeah.
it did like 1600 on the dyno, which was terrifying.
And it was fuel cutting. It was like pop, 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 pop. It's like that is all
Yeah.
that it had. Like Ash was basically like, I'm selling it after the dyno. I have to I have to know what it makes, and I have to put it all the way out there.
Yeah.
I remember when you got the tune. I can't remember who you got the tune from, but I remember you saying, he's like, do not drive this on the street. Do not drive this tune on the street. This is going to make as much horsepower as humanly possible. Do not drive it on the street. And I don't mean that because, it's too much power.
First thing I would do, drive it on the street.
Just drop the clutch.
Yeah. It was a fun truck though, especially with the suspension and the travel. It was just like totally opposite of what you'd expect out of like the single cab long box pickup with a shit ton of power and ridiculous amount of travel and just bulletproof everything.
Yeah.
Like bulletproof axles, just manual trans, like just drive the snot out of it and don't care.
It's like, how fast do you want to go over that bumpy shit?
Yeah.
It's just that's your question. Like, how fast do you want to go?
In a 3/4 ton truck.
Yeah, in 3/4 ton truck. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a wicked truck, man. I like that truck.
That's still one of my favorites.
Was that the truck where he was running the 42-inch Trepadors and like breaking lugs off?
Yep.
Like the lugs were just flying off the tire as he was on the highway on like one of the
42-inch sticky traps?
Yeah.
Red labels.
just throwing lugs off.
Like beer can size lugs.
Yeah, just off that tire. I remember seeing the tire. And I'm like, holy shit! Like you weren't kidding, dude. Like just hunk of rubber. Bye.
That was really the first truck diesel wise I got to actually dip deep into. I didn't actually go into the bottom end of the engine, but pretty much everything on the top end I ended up touching, and it was an incredible truck. It was a lot of fun to drive, but yeah, I needed something that I wasn't going to break.
And we were all in the process of growing up a little bit there.
Yeah.
And it's like, probably going to be getting married soon. The whole kids thing.
I know my favorite part about that is we did a video on that truck on our YouTube, and like my little funny speech was like, single guy, single turbo. I forget, single
cab,
pump, single cab, like everything is just fucking single. Because I like to party.
Yeah.
That was my exact response. And then
Fast forward 6 months later.
And then I met my wife and have 2 kids. So single cab was no more single cab, no more single guy. But yeah, I grew up a lot there.
Well,
It's kind of like that.
We all did. We all did. There was like a hard year of shit. At least for me.
Yeah. Well, and that led you to, and we are going to talk about your Granola Hunter now, because you've got, and I make fun of it, but in my opinion, I think it's a very well-rounded, well-built Tacoma.
Yeah.
You know, as fun as much as as I make of the fact that it has drum brakes. And for those of you that don't know,
So here's the thing. I'm a Toyota guy. I love Toyotas only because they're just retarded reliable.
rock solid.
They are.
They just work. And I was at that turning point that I'm like, okay, I need a pickup. It's not even a pickup. It's got like a John Deere Gator bed on the back of it. You can't haul a fucking thing.
Yeah.
But went back to my roots to where I was like, I'm building a family, buying a house, doing all this shit. The last thing I have like time for is to work on something. But I will equally make fun of every Toyota owner. Tacomas are really a pile of shit, like in the grand scheme of things. Like if anybody hasn't met me, I'll give you a quick speech. I think all vehicles suck. Like I really don't like any of them.
We had an episode called "Pick Your Junk."
Yeah,
and it was because we weren't cussing at that point because it was "Pick Your Shit."
Yeah,
it's basically me and Ashford talking like every vehicle sucks. You just got to pick where you want to suck.
Yeah,
pick your suck.
Yeah. So before you get on your speech of Tacoma, like, what? You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Well, so me and Ash, we've all known each other a long time, but every single Tacoma meme, especially if it involves rear drum brakes, I always forward Ash. And every time there's a meme about 7.3s and all that displacement and the horsepower, he sends it to me. And I take it.
Engineering marvel.
And I smile. And I'm just like, because I can't help. But whenever it happens, it makes me laugh. And I'm sure every non-7.3 guy, or even every 7.3 guy, when they see some 7.3 like being quote unquote fast.
Yeah.
Or like
I always laugh first.
A high horsepower 7.3. Yeah. Even in the 7.3 Facebook groups I'm in, like there are some very knowledgeable people out there. There are some people that have built a 7.3 as far as it's going to go in that group. Like, don't get me wrong. But whenever people chime in, they're like, I just want to make, a solid 500. There's the guys in there that have like windowed blocks trying to make 4 digits on 7. He's like, first off, listen here, motherfucker. 500 on that thing is basically like trying to make 1,800 into 5.9. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say it. And I'm a 7.3 specialist. Okay.
I was like, when 500 horsepower is like a feat. Yeah. Like, I mean, maybe you should rethink your platform.
Like, I get it. Everybody loves 7.3, loves legendary this, legendary that. But like, let's just be honest about what they're good for. Yeah. Get them to like 350, maybe 4. Yeah. And just let them run. Yep. Stop trying to win races. Yeah. And just enjoy. You're not. Just enjoy the fact that it's going to run.
Yeah.
This is the part of the diesel industry that I'm sorry, I'm going to offend people. Be offended.
Do it. I got to get more beer.
Okay. I offended the shit out of GM 1500 owners. They hate me.
Your diesel pickup is not fast. It was never intended to be fast. It's 10,000 pounds and it's a pile of shit. Like, you're never going to make it fast. If you want to build something fast, then start with something that's intended to be fast. Why don't you just use your truck for what it was intended for? Yeah. That's how I feel about the diesel industry as a whole. Yeah. Which is a little bit of a, because I'm in the industry. Yeah.
But we all are.
We're all these idiots.
I don't know. I just like the Granola Tacoma guy that pisses you off is the same to me of like every single diesel owner, other than like the 70-year-old man that I'm like, hey, that guy's like, he bought his truck, he's using it. Yeah. Good for him.
He's the only one using it. Yeah. All of us assholes are not even. Well, I guess I could say I'm using mine, but
those guys make me smile, and the guy who puts the properly sized set of compounds on his tow rig and just uses it to move weight. Yeah. And he's not like, I make this horsepower. Like, nah, man. Like, this truck does what it does really well. Yeah. I know it's not a race truck. Yeah. It happens to be quick. Whatever.
The one thing I do love, though, about
diesel... It happens
diesel,
to be much less reliable than the stock truck as well.
Yeah. But the thing I do love about diesel is the fact that there is so much horsepower that is just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you think about it, like, the progression of tuning on diesel trucks is pretty freaking phenomenal. Like, especially when you compare that to, like, gas engine stuff. It's just like... Oh, I can get 15 horsepower for $400.
Yeah.
Where I can spend $600 and get 300. What? Like, you're telling me that's in there?
It always goes back to the 6.4.
Yeah. The 6.4 is just
literally beep bop boop 325 wheel horsepower.
Yeah,
It's called
Ford's got some records.
Warhammer tune.
Yeah, they got some records. They got the largest displacement, lowest horsepower engine that's probably ever been created by man. And then they've got the 6.4, which is
it's like top 10. I'd say it's top 10.
Top 10. Well, I don't know, man. 7.3 liters and 100 and what? How many horsepower are the wheels?
Well, are we talking? Well, to the wheels, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yes,
get it. Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, there are like
That's what I'm getting at, though. How do 7.3 owners buy this thing and then have the audacity to think that it's actually powerful?
It's reliability. We got oil pressure.
it's
There's
the,
nothing.
Electricity.
Well, here's the thing, and I'll tell you this because this is what aside from coming from a Ford family, when I first started looking into diesel pickups, I was not immersed in the diesel industry. I just knew that at that point in my life, what I was doing for work, I needed something that moved weight better than a half-ton pickup.
Yeah.
And so I immediately, there's two things I did. One, I do not want to smog a diesel in California. Okay. Two, what's the biggest fucking engine I can get?
Imagine, just sidetrack here. Imagine being so, what's the right word for it? Unfortunate to be not only born in a Ford family, but to be born in California.
It was hard, man. It was
Like you got those odds against you starting off.
thus is born the 7.3 owner.
God.
Anyways,
I can tell you if Chevy put a 7.4 liter diesel in one of their trucks that was
would own it.
I would have fucking bought it.
Yeah.
I would have bought it.
You would-
At that point, all I knew is bigger's better.
this number's bigger than this one.
Yeah, give me the
I
cubes.
like that one.
Give me the cubes, baby. That's like, and I am still even though I am a 7.3 person, even outside of that, I'm still very much there is no replacement for displacement. There are places for smaller engines. I don't, there are times where a smaller engine is better suited, but when all things on the table equal, I'd say 98% of the time, like, give me the bigger engine.
Yeah.
I want a bigger engine. That's it.
Yeah.
It just works better for me.
Yeah.
I feel better about myself.
Hey,
I feel better about the Sasquatch situation.
Well, I can tell you what, you ain't gonna freaking find a Sasquatch with that freaking racket going through the woods.
Well, it's so loud it cancels out everything else.
Is that what happens?
It's idle smoothly like a box of rocks.
that's where my hate towards most Ford products came from. Is rewind a little bit where my family owned a diesel, or I didn't get to that part. My dad owned his own diesel repair facility, Monroe Diesel Service, for many years, and primarily specialized in heavy duty diesel truck, and heavy equipment, primarily truck. But he would always be working on, and that was just the era, just like 7.3 IDI or 6.9 or just piles of shit, and he just hated them to the point to no end. And I just always remember him cussing and yelling about them. And then we moved forward like 10 years, and my uncle ended up hiring my dad to work under the Westway Construction, to be the kind of the shop manager and do all lead mechanic work for the construction company. So dad sold off his business, hops over, we move over to this side of the state, and dad gets in, and just like a couple weeks prior to that, my uncle bought a whole new fleet of brand new Ford diesels. And they were all like 7.3 IDI trucks, like a fucking fleet of them.
Just a whole bunch of heavy TTB pieces of shit.
Just piled, like most
Powerless,
of them are like, and I get it because like they were the most affordable truck at the time. It's like the white Ford Ranger that's every service vehicle for every auto parts store. That was like uncle got a good deal to buy like all these piles of shit off the lot at once. And that's where my my hatred towards those pickups came from. So
yeah, that's where I think probably one of the third or fourth things I ever heard Ashford say was, "I don't speak Fomoco."
yeah, well,
And I was like, "Oh, I do." Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
So for the off-road guys on here, I know we just talked a whole bunch of shit about Tacomas and Power Strokes, but tell us about your Tacoma, because I think, truthfully, drum breaks aside, I do think it's a pretty rad truck. I think you've done a lot of cool stuff to it, because you're one of those guys that tends to
You keep it classy. You keep it classy.
You keep it classy, but you also everything has a purpose, like making sure that things are wired correctly. There's switches in certain places. I know I'm going to be standing here every time when I do this, so I'm going to make sure I'm putting an outlet here or a switch here or something like that. So tell me a little bit about that.
Unfortunately, like every single Tacoma on the road, they all look exactly the same.
How many morale patches do you have?
Morale patches?
Or like
my whole headboard is just full of them. Like
Okay,
all the
just-
places I've visited, I put up there.
Okay, just checking.
I don't have any.
Okay, good.
So
I think I remember that. I think the first time I got in your truck, I looked up. I was like, "Oh, thank God." It's like I didn't think you would, but I was like, "Oh no."
my goal was to jumped over to the off-road side here, off-road power products. So it naturally kind of fit to go with that. And I, at the time, had a small family, just 2 kids. I still have just 2 kids and a wife, but a couple dogs. So I'm kind of on the horizon next is to get the next bigger gas pickup. But jumped into a Tacoma mostly because I just wanted to get again, what I said previously, jump back into something reliable. I wanted something small because we do go camp and explore in the woods a ton. And everything I went through in a full size just got redneck pinstriping on everything. I'd get it stuck in the woods and it was just kind of a pain in the ass. So kind of just went back to what I knew. But I wanted to do it as far as a build. They're all cookie cutter of one another, but at least do it, as you mentioned, utilitarian to where everything had a purpose. I didn't put anything on it that didn't need to be on it, and I'm not exactly done with the pickup yet. I just got kind of like stage 1 done was my plan. But very utilitarian. I needed it to do exactly what I wanted it to do, so I didn't really put, the typical Toyota off-roadery Overlander where you just keep bolting shit on until the vehicle's too heavy to get out of the driveway.
And then you don't re-gear it. You talk about how slow they are.
Yeah. So it's got a bunch of really, really high-end top-tier parts on it, but it's a real sleeper. So it's first thing I did as far as stage 1 was mostly drivetrain. So it's got an e-locker in the rear. It's got 529 gears. I'm running method race wheels, bead grip wheels because I wanted a bead lock, but I didn't want the typical bead lock where I had to deal with things. 35-inch tire, which is a pretty difficult thing to do on a Tacoma because of clearance. So I've tried to make it look as factory as possible without having to butcher up the fenders. But 35-inch tire, 529 gears, lockers, and then it's got a pretty high-end set of Elka 2.5-inch coilovers in the front with remote resis, dual speed control, Deaver rear springs, kind of like the same build as what I did on Mjolnir, the single cab ram that we were talking about. But yeah, just a kind of a full list of all the things that I would need when I was out in the woods. It needed to ride good. It needed to be dependable. It still needs to be a daily driver, so it's got to get good fuel mileage. But I also haul dirt bikes and the family around, so I need the bed to be able to be usable. What else it's got? It's got onboard air. It's got a bunch of electronics and whatnot under the hood and inside the cab for communication gear. Just kind of like the low-key bug-out truck, if you will. Like, just something stupid reliable. It does everything. It doesn't do anything good. It just does everything. And yeah, I've been driving it for couple years now. Yeah,
I will say every time I pull one in the parking lot and I see it, I'm like, it's a good looking Tacoma. Like it's definitely like I see the differences in it because just there are so many damn Tacomas rolling around, and it's one of those things where like if you're not in tune with automotive stuff or how like if trucks a lot and you see like, oh, Tacoma's a Tacoma, it's Tacoma, it's Tacoma, it's sand, it's gray, it's Tacoma, it's black, then you probably won't notice it. But if you're like, I don't want to say most Tacoma owners because I feel like most Tacoma owners just open the catalog and like,
they'll just go to Les Schwab and just grab like,
Yeah.
what kind of wheels you guys got? That's awesome, cool, let's do them. And it's just, like either put like too big of a wheel and then they've got a MT on there where the thing's never even seen dirt road before, but like yours like just looks proportional, and you could tell like if you put your Tacoma next to like one that was like the average Joe's, you're like, okay, that one actually goes off-road. It actually works. This one.
I think of it's kind of like the sleeperness, if you will, of the Warthog. Whereas when you look at the Warthog, we had a 15 LML that had a lot of really slick shit done to it. If you don't know, we have videos on it. Go check out our webpage and all our videos on it and whatnot.
We like hardly talk about that truck.
I know, because it's so badass, but it never gets talked about. It's so under the radar.
Yeah.
And it's one of those trucks where if you look at it by itself and you don't know what you're looking at, even to most trained eyes, if you didn't know what you're looking at, oh, it's a Silverado. It's on some big tires. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then, but if you were to take that truck and put it next to a stock truck and then next to another Silverado, that's how they normally fit 40s on a truck. Yeah. And you put the Warthog in the middle, you're like,
wait a second here.
How the fuck does that even exist?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
That was the exact goal going into it, was to try to make it look, I mean, you heard me say it before. They all look exactly the same. I mean, I bought a cement gray Tacoma when it first came out with that color code because I thought it was like the coolest color ever. I love that color. Like, I purposely went to the lot and requested, that's exactly what I want. I wanted these features, but I have to have this color. It has to be a crew cab. And now they're everywhere.
Well,
like,
it is a cool color. Like, I'm not gonna say it. Like as far as colors go, I know sometimes they get played out. Like when the blue JKs came out, everybody was like, "Gotta have the blue J, gotta have the blue." When I first saw, it, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of a cool blue." And you see it everywhere, and you're like, "That's kind of gay now." But
yeah, it's one of those things you don't really notice it until you have one, and then all I see is cement gray Tacomas like everywhere. Yeah, I will give it to Toyota. They got the best colors in the game right now. I feel like.
They do got
like the colors that they're coming out with, like the army greens and the blues. They're all like that flat color or the sand.
Yeah.
I forget what the actual name for it is, but they got some pretty cool colors. But
I think they're embracing their fans, their fan base. They're like, our fan base does not want a red pearls or red sparkly truck. That's for the
they're
GM
probably
trucks.
like they just graduated out of a Subaru and they're looking for a pickup.
Exactly. Yeah. And you got to make sure there's enough cigarette ash for the vape pens. And so they can tell robots that they get blowjobs.
Yeah, to charge them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't vape, so I don't know. Do they use cigarette lighters? I assume so.
I'm sure there's an adapter you plug in. I don't know.
Maybe they're USB charged or a solar panel because they're green.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I like to use photosynthesis to charge my stick to inhale synthetic smoke.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's just basically, it's like sucking on robot dick.
Yeah. That's how you let them know.
Yeah.
Speaking of dicks.
We call them douche flutes. Dude, I saw an Instagram video today of I don't know if this is true or not, but they were like cleaning the inside of a car that where someone like vaped in it all the time. Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. They're cleaning the windshield, like the window off. It looked like jizz. Like it literally was like this slime shit that they like it was
with
like a razor blade.
Experience with that or what?
No, I just saw. Like I said, I just saw that I know what jizz looks like. I mean, obviously.
You've seen it up close.
Yeah, well, I mean,
at least from an arm's length.
Yeah, like from yeah. I mean, at least 5-6 inches away. but yeah, no, that's shit. Well, that spiraled. But yeah, so
I was cleaning and it went off in my hand.
Anyways, don't do that in your car. Is more.
And what he means is, producing jizz or vaping in your car.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. I don't even know anymore. I didn't think it was going to go that way, but whatever. Cheers.
Cheers to that. Okay. So
I was saying that was kind of the goal with the truck, was just to make it look stock appearing. Uh-huh. But you wouldn't really notice what was done to it unless if you got up close. Like the onboard air system's all hid in the bedside pockets. It's got the whole suite of electronics that I've done to it are all ran through like the factory wiring loom, and everything's hidden. The suspension and everything, like it's running a 35-inch tire with no more than 2.5 inches of lift. So it's the same height as just about every other Tacoma with a basic leveling kit out there. And unfortunately, that's the case with most Tacomas or most of those vehicles in the first place. You can pretty much say all of them, including diesels. Most of them are just a fancy wheel and tire and a leveling kit that was $120. So my goal was to make it look similar. So I didn't, make it look like a sore thumb, but just do it right. Mm-hmm. So,
well, it makes sense because I'm sure that there are other Tacoma guys that like walk by years in a parking lot and be like, I want to do that. And it's like if you were able to talk to him, like, oh, dude, yeah, you managed to fit a 35 in, yeah. Yeah, I just want to do that. And I could see just right out, like in my face, like, no, you don't, man.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You don't want to do that. I can tell you don't.
Yeah, a lot of work there to make that tire work, but I'm not too thrilled about the truck. At the end of the day, it's pretty.
Put a whole bunch of time in this truck.
I fucking hate it.
It sucks.
I don't think there's a
It
truck.
doesn't even make me happy.
All I can imagine is like, you know, the meme of like the grandpa that's on a roller coaster that fought through World War II, and he's on a roller coaster and he's just like pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me. With just about like every vehicle. Like,
It's just another piece of shit.
Yeah.
I guess. Let me put it this way: once you ride a motorcycle, you just can't look at vehicles the same anymore. Like I truly believe that the whole saying of 4 wheels move the body and 2 wheels move the soul. I'm
deep.
I'm full on board with that. Yeah. Every time I drive any pickup, I'm like, it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
So I mean, it does cool things. It's Tacoma. I felt the same thing about Mjolnir too, and I'm pretty sure you could put me in any truck and I'd have that feeling, but they're pretty disappointing.
So if you need parts for your off-road pickup, make sure and check out offroadpowerparts.com. You're going to want to talk to Ash West. He is the most enthusiastic person about off-roading that you'll ever talk to. He is thrilled, capital T, thrilled to talk to you.
If you want like blunt honesty, just go ahead and give me a call.
Like, listen, man, I spent 3 hours with you on this list. It's a great list. You got great parts. You'll fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Still a piece of shit, bro.
For the amount that we're talking about spending here, you could buy a 2023 KTM and a trailer, and I'll tell you what, right now they'll get your dick harder than any of this right now.
They really will. Like, no joke.
Yeah.
You've ridden a dirt bike before? Perfect. This is exactly what you need. You might die, or you'll see the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like somehow Off-Road Power Products has started just really just assisting with the sales of dirt bikes locally. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. I called in to spend $35,000 on my truck, and he talked me into a trailer and a dirt bike, and I've never been happier.
It's not even street legal. I can't even drive it to work.
I get into my truck every morning. I just want to blow my brains out. All I can think about is I get off work and go rip wheelies.
Jesus. Oh, man.
I know a little bit about
got any more insight?
Yeah.
I could give you all the insight you want, man. Maybe I've been doing this for so long that like I'm young. I'm 32. I think I'm 32. I mean, you're the same age.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it. It's, you know,
I'll
what
keep
I'm
track
getting,
for you. You're 32.
Yeah. You know what I'm getting at. You've been doing it so long where like somebody like comes up to you with their badass and they're like, you know, they're 18, 20-year-old kid and they were who you were, like super excited. Like, look, I got this tuner. And you're like, cool, dude.
Yeah. No, I'm 100%. 100%.
Maybe I just been around the block too many times where I'm like,
it definitely takes a lot more to impress me. And it's usually the little things that impress me now and not like the whole big build. Like when I can see a truck that's built and it's like cleanly done and it, you know, it's got cool stuff on it, but it's all done right and clean and nice. Like that's kind of the kind of shit that really gets me going.
I think that's where all of us are now. I think that's one of the reasons why I do like your truck. And that's one of the things I'm trying to do, like with the Excursion. I know I'm not trying to make some super badass custom vehicle, but like there are lots of little things that I want to accomplish on there to make it like cooler and more useful. And I think that's what you're going to end up doing on your truck too.
Yeah.
And
I love that shit. Like if you make your truck, I'm going to go on another tangent.
Do it.
That's what we do the entire time.
3, 2, 1.
There's like 90% of the builds out there have absolutely no purpose to the build. Like, I don't even know what are you putting your money into? Why are you putting those dumbass weird tires on there? And it's like, I love vehicles. That's what does get me excited about vehicles, just like you mentioned. Yeah. Rewind a little bit here. I totally dig when people do things right and it's for a purpose. Like when you meet somebody and it's like, you see them done, you know, they did these couple modifications to your truck and you don't quite understand it. And they're intelligent enough to explain why they did it because, hey, I use I use this to do, I'm a pipeline welder and I built this deck because this assists me be more efficient at my job. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. You can learn different, they've modified this to do this, and this has been done to do this. That's really cool to me. But the, run of the mill, you did all these performance mods for Instagram and 14-inch wide wheels and you look like every other truck on the road. It's just, don't be that guy.
I think the only time that's acceptable is when you play the part on your nose. Like, this is a party truck. This serves absolutely... The purpose of this truck is no purpose. Right. The purpose of this truck is to make you hate this truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you play that, then absolutely.
All right, that's cool. But don't go on there and tell me that you got 24s on your truck and you off-road it and still tow with it. It's like...
Well, that one truck that we did that Rate My Ride, that...
Casper's truck.
Casper.
Yeah.
Dude, that, okay. Again, not a huge fan of his wheel and tire package. I'll say that till the day I die. But for what he did with that truck and what his plan was with that truck, it makes it makes sense. He's playing to that crowd, and he did everything, at least from what we could see, really well, and it really clean and really nice. So that's like you always gotta. Again, now it's instead of like when we were younger, it's just like look at that, that painted lower valance under the bumper. He's got the painted piece on the rear bumper there. That nice the blue accents he's got everywhere. It's just a clean ass truck.
And the stack with the Casper on it.
That is exactly what I hate.
I know, but you have to respect.
I don't.
The amount of detail that he did going into that stack. I mean, that shit probably cost him a fucking arm and a leg to get that thing done. And if that's the whole goal with the truck was to make this truck, he did it the best way possible.
And one of the things is so we did a Rate My Rig.
All right.
And we had 3 categories.
You guys should have me on there. It'll be great.
Y'all get zeros. Yeah. This truck, I guarantee that last truck that had like 3 1/4 on it, what was it? Honey Badger's truck?
Yeah.
Ashley was like, dude, solid 10s.
Yeah, all across the board.
WeatherTech floor mats, 10.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
But the picture, because we did 3 categories, basically the overall truck, the mod list, and then the picture. Because you can have an absolutely stupid truck, but if it's a cool picture, it's a cool picture. Like, don't get me wrong. But just so you know, that truck has like 400 and some thousand miles on it, and its engine's bone stock.
That's why it has 400,000 miles on it.
320,000 miles.
It'll get 400.
Yeah.
Just
I'm
kicking
sure.
along.
But one of the things that we were definitely digging about that Casper truck is the quality, the photo. Like, take away the fact that whether you don't like the wheels sticking out all the way and all this other like
fancy
fancy
Is
shit.
that the white truck?
Yeah.
Is that the name, Casper?
It's Casper truck, yeah.
I got it.
And but with the colors on the wall in the background, the quality of the photo.
Yeah. Well,
even,
just the
like, just
detail
how much
again,
the
those
wheels are
valances he
turned.
painted, I mean, you could even look in his fender wells. Like, his fender wells are like freaking, they look brand new. It just looks clean.
He went out of his way to paint them white.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just he took that extra step there. And I would never own a truck that
that thing would
looks
look like
that, but
absolute shit in 1 week here.
Fuck.
Like, there would be no paint if that truck got used for what I use a truck for. So it's all situational dependent. I mean, I get it, it's a show truck, but something like that used for how I would use a truck, there would be no paint on the bedside or front fenders in a week from just driving gravel roads.
Yeah, his rockers would just be absolutely just trashed.
But
and believe it or not, that was like, I think that was a 3rd or 4th place truck out of 10 for us.
Yeah.
So trucks like that, I've came out with this really fun game because it's always way more offensive when a girl asks a guy. Mm-hmm. But I got my wife like pretty much trained to where anytime she sees one of those cars that have like the retarded stance or trucks that have that, they're skating, that I'll have her ask them what the purpose of their truck is.
Oh, fuck you. Especially coming from,
it's beautiful.
Stop towing it. Like, no, you don't.
And I've got her to where she's like, the stance car. She's like, what? I'm really ignorant. I'm kind of like new to the car world. Why do your tires point like that? And then I sit there and I laugh in the background just listening to them explain why they did that. And then she'll ask, so does it make it handle better? And
then they go corners faster?
Yeah. Does it does it perform better? And like suspension wise on pickups, she'll be like, so does it steer better or does it like do better off road? And they just fumble through all this shit because it doesn't do anything better. There's nothing that you did to your vehicle that makes it better.
Yeah.
Carry on.
At all. That's the best part.
But it's like I get to sit there in the background and really see their brain work that they're retarded.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna go and they're gonna like. And this is like the best case scenario. Let's play this out like 45 minutes down the road, maybe 2 days down the road. They're gonna
It's sitting there.
They're gonna sit there in their head.
Rent free in their head.
Rent free in their head. Some pretty young lady comes over and just like asking them honestly very basic questions.
Yeah.
Like she's not asking super in depth questions.
No.
She's just like, does it work? And and they're gonna sit there, 2 weeks down the line and be like, I fucked my truck up.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny about that? But you know what's funny about that is most of those people. Have you seen that Instagram video where he's like, "What do you do?" And the kid's like, "I'm a PIMP."
Yeah.
You heard
If you don't
about it?
know,
Now
now
you know. Like that's like most of the people that would like. I feel like would answer that. Like, yeah, this truck's PIMP, man. Now you don't know. Then now you know. Like,
Well, and the only correct answers to folks that are doing that is kind of like
it's absolutely nothing.
stunning,
Yeah,
pissing people off.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'd probably respect it if they just said
If
that.
they just came out and said, like, honestly, I do it because it pisses old white folks off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go through ball joints like crazy. I don't care.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Hey, look at this. Hey, you're talking to me, right? Done.
It's working.
Morgan.
Yeah.
That's it. and the best part is, I guarantee you that guy daily drives like a stock truck,
Yeah.
or like his work truck is a stock truck
Yeah.
with like 3 1/4 on it. Again, like Honey Badger's truck, just bone ass stock.
Yeah.
And that's the one he actually likes driving. He just
Yeah.
takes that one out to just dick off.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So before we close this one up, Ash, what's the next truck on the list? What are you getting next?
I feel like we haven't covered
Tundra?
anything with this podcast, but
That's why we're the best podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
we just talked for an hour about nothing.
Hey,
Welcome.
Seinfeld was a great show, man. It was literally a show about nothing.
What episode are you guys on?
Believe it or not, 262.
No,
it's more than that.
No, we're less than that. We're like this will be probably 240, 242.
Can you believe we're
hold on.
cracking the 20s and top 20 automotive podcast?
Yeah, not just diesel, top 20 automotive.
Shows a lot about the intelligence
Yeah.
of the diesel
We're
community.
just pandering our community.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the next truck? I don't know. I'm so tired. Like I might even go back to diesel. Like I'm in this weird. I'd like to hear your guys'
Dude,
opinion.
those
on
Tundras
this.
are bad to the bone,
let's-
dude.
give
I
me-
love a Tundra.
Okay.
I'll
See,
talk
I
shit
do
about
too.
my Tundra, but those they do that.
Hold on.
So
freaking
me
5.7.
and Tyler actually discussed a lot of things that end up happening on our trucks right now. This is the best form to do it on.
Okay,
Let's hammer
so-
it out. Let's go.
I want both of your guys' opinion. I'm on a budget. I'm not broke. But let's say you got a 50, 60K budget for a pickup, which is a lot. I mean, for the average working man, that's a lot of money.
So this is like 50, 60K to buy said pickup, or
To
is this
buy pickup.
plus mods?
Let's say just buy pickup.
Okay.
Which in today's, I mean, that's like most new pickups are more than that.
Half ton stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So-
half ton, or at least a year or two old.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to own multiple vehicles. I might buy a commuter, just a pile of shit to get back and forth to work. But don't want to own multiple vehicles. I need to haul a family of 4 plus dogs. I need it to get good fuel efficiency because I do live in the great state of Idaho and commute to work every day. So I'm doing like 50-ish miles a day.
I already have an idea in my head.
Yeah, I know. I do too. So I'm curious. But I also would like to pick up a toy hauler. So I'm not going to get a big toy hauler. I'm not going big dick like Tyler over here.
Easy there, bud. That's a small one.
I'm thinking like towing capacity, half-ton range would totally do it. I do
12,000
not.
pounds less.
Yeah.
I
Like
know exactly what you're going to say.
Yep.
I straight up do not need a 3/4 or 1-ton pickup right now. I would like to have a bigger bed because the bed I have right now, it shouldn't even be a bed. Like you put your gear bag in the back and it's full. I actually fit 4 dirt bikes in it the other day though. I'm very
50s?
proud of it.
Two adult, two
Okay,
kids.
dude.
Yeah, is impressive.
That's
It
very
was like-
That
impressive.
actually really is impressive. Yeah.
That's like handlebars going through frames and
I'm sure
shit.
you probably didn't have to strap him down. Probably just kind of
No,
wedged him in there.
you just gotta- yeah. And well, I need it to be reliable. I think I already mentioned that. I'm not opposed to diesel because I can get decent fuel efficiency, but I don't want to dip into any, like, my modifications on that vehicle would be no different than what I've done to my current pickup. There'd be a good suspension system on there for ride, a good looking wheel and tire combo, some accoutrements to accessorize my lifestyle. So having like onboard air and things like that just to work well with how I drive my vehicle off road. I don't necessarily need to wheel it. I have motorcycles to go in technical terrain, so it doesn't need to be a Jeep or anything like that, or I need to like go dedicated trail. So I think like a 1/2-ton platform pickup would be money.
I've known since your second thing.
F-150 EcoBoost is what he's saying.
Absolutely not.
No,
No,
really.
not even a little bit.
What were you gonna say?
Wow, I'm going to shock you.
Wow.
See, I'm going to shock both of you.
You need a grocery getter. You need an LM2.
See? And I've looked at them.
3-liter Duramax.
Talk so much. Yeah.
We've talked so
No.
much shit about them, but
Yeah.
that absolutely
But it
fits
is-
your bill.
I don't-
Especially
yeah.
with the BDS's new.
I almost said Ford
suspensions kit they have
Raptor,
from-
but then he said the bad.
See,
Well,
and
you
I
can get
thought
a Raptor
about,
with it okay.
Because like a
man.
Raptor with an EcoBoost, like you could tow
Yeah.
pretty damn. Dude, I've seen Raptors hauling toy haulers like up at sites and shit. Like
Mhm.
I
And
know
I-
they could tow.
Truth be told, I'm not opposed to going to a Ford. I've never owned a Ford. I plan to never own a Ford, but I will give it to them in the last 5 to 10-ish years. They've made leaps and bounds on their improvements between the diesel platform and 1500 or 150 platform. They're decent trucks now. So
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to any of the brands. I'm not like brand specific. It is tough on the Tundra. I like the looks of the new Tundras on 37s.
Fuel mileage though, that kills you.
But fuel mileage is crap on
Well,
them.
what about
And-
the new, what's it, like 3.6 twin turbo?
Yeah, so the iForce, they get down. I've driven one.
Dude, that 5.7 is a nasty bitch. Like I love that. That V8 is such a good freaking platform.
Do you know what kind of mileage Kyle was getting in his?
They are shit,
Yeah.
but they have power for days.
And they sound
And they sound
amazing.
nasty.
And forged internals are never going to fuck that thing up.
Dude, I was
further-
reading an article like Toyota, like in like their race Tundra or whatever the fuck, is basically a stock engine and transmission that they just like run the piss out of.
Yeah.
And they'll go like multiple races and not even touching it.
Mhm.
They're just that good.
Their engine department is pretty incredible for the reliability side of things. Like
Yeah.
they don't, I mean, they have the performance division that they make some really, really top tier performance engines, but just for like the standard Tundra 1U engines,
Yeah.
they're incredibly reliable.
Yeah, they've got sack.
Yeah.
Like they freaking get down.
But
The mileage is
mileage.
shit.
yeah.
Garbage.
And the price point. Like
Yeah.
buying a brand new
True.
Tundra, they're way up there. I feel like they're 20,000 over what their asking price.
Yeah,
should
and that's
be.
for buying a Tundra that's just, 3 years old, too.
Yeah.
It's just, they're just like a Tacoma. I
Yeah.
mean, they just hold their value so well that it makes it tough. But I don't. Yeah, you're just not getting your money's worth, unfortunately, with the Tundra. I feel like I truly do believe they're like 15,000, 20,000 over what they should be sold for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I could see you in a 1500 3-liter Duramax with one of the suspension kits I saw that at BDS's booth at
Coil
SEMA.
overcoat.
Yeah, especially for the rear. Tons of travel in the rear.
I have a friend that has one, and he does the same thing. He pulls a little race trailer with it, and it gets really good mileage. Like-
Stock, they get fantastic mileage. PP, I know that you said you're probably not going to do like performance parts on there. PPE is making some really, that water to air intercooler right there we're going to be doing on Taylor's truck.
Cool.
They make some really cool parts for it that are actually helping the truck work better.
But are they better engineered than the stock part?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
100%.
It's a really nice part.
When we're doing that on December 5th, I'll make sure that you come out and look at the stock one compared to that water intercooler. It is literally like they had to redesign every single bracket around it because that thing is so much bigger.
Wow.
And
right.
they're claiming they're picking up from.
Well, if you look on the website, that picture you sent me of the stock one, I put it on the actual product page for it.
Yeah, so that's the one I actually took at. I have it right here. I took it at SEMA. But I'm not gonna pull it up right now. You'll see it later. But we talked a lot of shit about those trucks. 100%. Like we had people comment back like, how can a diesel podcast talk so much shit? Because we called it a grocery getter and everybody's pissed off.
It is.
We're like, it's a fucking grocery getter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God.
You guys have heard me
They're
say
so
this.
sensitive.
I know.
You've heard me say this for years. Every lifted GM is just a lifted El Camino.
I know. But we said specifically that particular truck. When I say, I think I like nonchalantly would be like, yeah, it's a perfect truck for your wife. I mean, it's
Get groceries.
like,
It really
get groceries, and because like when you compare it to a 3/4 ton truck, like it just can't do the same things.
It's
Right.
not intended to, though.
I know,
That's
but
the thing.
the problem is people think
buy it
it
and,
is intended to do that.
It's just like eco diesel owners.
Yep.
Those pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tyler.
Hey, I never used it to
I
tow
know.
shit.
I know.
Unfortunately, it's like all those though. They're a total gateway drug. Like
Yeah.
they jump into it and then they learn about diesel performance and they start reading things and they get this spiral out of control on forums and this guy says this, and then unfortunately those people are the same people that are like, they're so hyper sensitive about everything. Like, I heard this guy had an oil pump failure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 1 out of like 15 million. You're gonna be okay, bro.
Yeah.
Just drive the truck.
Yeah.
That's like that 1,500
Yeah.
crowd is totally like that.
Well, I think too. I think they get oversold even at the dealership.
Yeah.
Where they.
I remember him
salesmen
taking one of
don't-
those calls, the eco diesel calls, where the guy was like, "How do I make my frame stronger?" Or something like that. It was like,
Yeah.
or how do I make something stronger? I remember, I think it was you. I can't remember for sure.
I would have told him to buy a for sale sign.
I think that was pretty much the gist of it. But it was like, sir, why?
Yeah. What's your?
Why are you trying to make your frame strong? Did you break
It just
it?
goes like right back to buying a diesel pickup to go fast.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Don't buy a 1,500 to tow like Peterbilt weight here. You're not a Peterbilt.
yeah.
Sounds like you need 2 trucks, my friend.
Yeah. Yep.
But no, I think that you would. I think the kiddos would be happy in the back seat. I think you could find just the right, because GM is pretty good about their trim levels.
Yeah.
About making sure you can get a good enough trim level that's like, obviously you don't need something that's like super pimped out. Personally, I would. I like pimped out interiors.
That's like the balance point though. I'm totally like, if it was just me and the wife, oh yeah, I'm gonna leather that bitch out and like heated seats and just everything. But my kids are young enough, and then having dogs,
it gets torn up.
it just gets messed up. There's just no way around it. Like,
Well, and then you're never going to get if you had to have some sort of resale value out of that, you're never going to get the resale value out of that because it's, you're tearing up the interior and whatnot. But for me, I am an amenities whore. Like I am definitely polar opposites when it comes to vehicles. Like with the blue truck, I loved the fact that it was bare bones everything that made me happy, but also like the daily driver, I like the seat warmers. I like all that shit. Oh, Tyler's wife texted her.
Trouble.
Hold on. Yeah. Put her on.
You want me to talk to her?
Yeah.
Tyler's calling his wife. This is why you come for the live action in America's Diesel Pocket. Oh, shh.
Yeah, she needs to turn the traction control off in 4 high, not 4 low.
So they're talking about Cassie's mom.
Hold on. What vehicle is this? A freaking Land Rover?
Denali.
I don't speak freaking British. Hold on.
What is she in her? A disco now?
It's not a disco. It's a small.
Oh,
Land
the Land
Rover.
Rover that looks like an
The
Escape.
newer one. Hold on, babe.
The Land Rover Small. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah.
She's stuck. It's probably snowing like crazy out there.
Okay, you see the little icon that looks like a car doing a burnout, and it says off underneath it.
This is so good. We've all had this call.
Okay, so the bottom batch of buttons, okay? The one that looks like he's doing a Bernie with it says off. Hit that button. And sometimes you have to
Sometimes you gotta hold it. Yeah.
sometimes you got to hold it down, like put it in park, hold that button down, and usually she's stuck on a hill.
Well,
Well, she's not moving anywhere right now, right?
put 'em
Okay, park. Hold the foot on the brake. Press that button down. Usually, if you hold it for like 3 or 4, like 3 to 5 seconds,
but you don't know
it'll
how to
do.
engage.
It'll do like there's some
I'm
sort of
surprised the
noise.
Land
That
Rover's
means
just not
it's
doing it.
fully in party
it's
mode.
like sensitive enough to where it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay,
what
so if
kind
you
of
hold that
feelings it
down,
has,
that
but-
turns your traction control off. Because what's happening is she's trying to go up the hill, and the traction control is taking over. Okay, but you're in the right setting. 4 high, traction control off. Pin it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
My bad.
That's live action, folks.
That's live freaking action right now.
We just got some snow coming down right now, and the roads are always shit when it has been cold like this, and then it's like rain, and then.
And then there's always those Land Rover people that are like
Dude,
this.
I will say this lady, she's
Wait,
like-
was that Cass's mom?
no, that's
Oh.
her one of her bosses.
Oh, okay.
But she's like, she bought a brand new Can-Am X3. She's like got like 40 miles on it. Like she just buys like all this shit. Dude, she's got a Maserati. She's got a brand new Escalade. She's got a Land Rover. She's like, which buttons does it for high or for low? Like, golly. Snow mode, traction control off, go.
Go.
She's like, she can't get up her hill.
Then
If that can't make it up that with the traction control off, like, send it back. Send
Yeah.
it back.
send it back.
Anyways.
LM2. LM3? LM2.
I think it's LM2. Could be 0. Or I could be wrong. I know it's not
For what?
LM0.
It's a 3-liter.
3-liter.
LM2. It's LM2.
LZ0 is the next one, yeah. So 20 to 22 is the LM2.
LM2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see you being happy with that. Maybe even, I mean, I know Cooper had one. Also Taylor, our CFO, he's got one that we did. We're doing that on. So he's put some miles on too. So maybe worth talking to him.
What was your vote?
For a rig?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I say fuck mileage and go with the Tundra. But I think, I mean, if you're trying to stick with, why not the 3-liter Power Stroke F-150?
I haven't heard
Nobody
anything
talks about
it.
those things, but I drove
because
that
they
one.
stopped making them.
I know, I drove that one, dude.
I'm not buying something that's not made anymore. That's just recipe.
They don't
Yeah.
make it anymore?
No.
Oh, wow.
They stopped, I want to say
I
it's
don't
like
keep
almost
track of
1
those.
2 years ago.
I don't know. I immediately went. I thought he was going to go to EcoBoost and EcoBoost F-150 just because their tow rating is freaking awesome.
See,
they
and
get
I've-
great mileage.
I love the EcoBoost engine. Like
Yeah.
that whole platform, that truck is freaking rad.
Mhm.
Like truly.
Like
incredible.
what's the good years like after 2014 or something
I
like
was going to say
that?
13 or 14 or something like that.
Like, but yeah, that's probably what I would.
Or
Because I mean, you are like off road, so like you're not tied to a diesel. And I bet you that F-150 EcoBoost has a higher tow rating than that 3.0.
No, I'm
Chevy.
fine with gas
It
or
does.
diesel. I mean, I don't really care
But,
between
but
the
I
two.
bet you.
And price wise, you could probably find one of those for a lot cheaper than a 3.0 Duramax, and then you could put some more cool shit on it
Yeah.
and make it yours.
I think the mileage unloaded on the new Duramaxes and towing is so much better than you
I'm
would
sure.
find.
Yeah.
We're talking like double. Okay.
I don't know about double, dude.
Cooper was telling me he was towing his side by side back from California. He was getting about 22 in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
truly-
light aluminum trailer he was probably using.
I understand that.
And it's a
but,
2-seater.
but also,
little-
as far as the daily driving, I've got
Friends that are getting like 27. on them.
mid 20s easy.
Oh yeah, I was getting that with
Easy.
my Eco Diesel.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you're
it's-
not going to get that Eco Boost.
But towing between the two, what's going to be the difference between mileage?
I bet you the diesel gets better.
You think?
Yeah.
Wonder what it is.
And I bet you it moves the weight better too.
It might.
I can't believe I'm actually backing up this fucking grocery getter
I
right
know.
now,
I'm
but I
making
am.
you.
I know you are. The other side of that, if in my opinion, if you're not doing LM2, Gen 1 Raptor, just fucking do it. 6'2", feed the beast. Just feed the beast.
But the
10
bed thing
miles per
though, but you
Fuck
because
it.
they only made the one bed length,
Yeah.
right?
6'4".
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can pick those up for if your budget's 50, 60 or 40, 50, you could pick those up
Oh, they're easy to
20,
find.
25
Yeah.
right
Oh,
now.
Yeah.
The one we got there that's brand new out there is I think it was 30.
Yeah. And
But-
I honestly love the fact that we have that on our fleet right now. A Gen 1 Raptor. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that we did the suspension on there is uniball, and when you do any sort of sealed joints on
All
there,
right, let me give you the story
it's gonna
behind.
squeak in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Let me give you the story behind that build because that's my
Your baby?
not my baby, but
Yeah.
Is that the kit that we had laying around for
Yes.
freaking? Okay.
Yes.
okay. So the
Yes, it
reason why
is.
that has it on there is because one, I can't sell that kit anymore because it's obsolete. So of course, like any good man would do, you just buy the truck that it fits. Because you got like $2,000 worth of suspension, you buy a $30,000 truck to use it on. You know,
The math works out.
yeah.
really
Excel
does.
will give you a green check mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is applicable to anything. You find like a spare part for a lower receiver, and then you just end up with a rifle.
Yeah.
Or, you know?
Yeah.
These are the facts. I'm not kidding. Like, this is
On a
that makes
wheel for a
perfect sense.
heavy charger. I spent like $3 million. Charger. Like, I'm not spare. Yeah,
But
it works.
It's built out right. It's got the right suspension kit on it. I did some pretty rad wheels with the KMCs that I went on it with the
BFG all trains.
Yeah, so those were really hard to get.
Those
37
look
inch.
good. They look proper.
Yes, those are TA KO3s in a C load range 37.
Oh.
They are proper for a Ford Raptor. You know how hard it is to find a 37-inch tire that is an all-terrain? That's the KO3 spec tire, Baja spec tire in a load range C. Had to get them from like New York. Shipped them all the way over, but that truck's built pretty well.
No, I like
Just
that.
for like a
That would,
yeah.
That would leave you with some money left over. And yeah, I know we just talked about like getting fuel mileage and whatnot, but that thing's gonna get 12 no matter what.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fun and makes noises.
Makes
This
nice noise. Those 6.2s,
Oh,
they
fuck.
bark, baby. Oh, yeah.
Going back to my,
truck.
there is no replacement for displacement. You give me like between those two, that is a hard thing. I would be torn between those two. And honestly, looking at that now, if that was my budget and I could buy a relatively new LM2 or buy a Gen 1 Raptor and have extra money left over and buy it cash and not have a payment,
I'd go
I would go
Raptor.
Gen 1 Raptor.
Yeah, over
yeah.
an
Truck
LM2?
sucks.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I mean, way more fun than the whole
Yeah.
truck, and the
Yeah.
accessory department's going to be easier to.
And
I got
pretty
to
much
flog the shit out of a Gen 1 Raptor at the ORV park when my buddy Mark bought one. Dude, it was
And almost every
I had
Raptor's
like
trimmed
70
out.
miles out on it.
Yeah.
We freaking just took it to the ORV park. I'm like, here we go. Did we busted the inner fender out of the, like the passenger side front. Like it was just beating the shit out of it. It was
then-
great.
like I said, almost every Raptor is trimmed out pretty well.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're gonna get seat warmers, and chances are, if you find one, they've already had kids and they already had dogs. So it's not like you're putting that first scratch in the rear seat, that first scratch on the center console. And keep in mind, I am definitely not trying to talk you into a 6.2 Raptor, a Gen 1 Raptor. I still think that you and your family would be happier with an LM2, but I'm just saying, Sasquatch's dick would be an LM2. Ashford's dick's in a 6.2.
I've thought about it, and actually, the truck that I was thinking would be an LM2. That might be
It
the
makes
best.
sense. Like it's yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that bombshell and cliffhanger, folks, we will
We're
come back
sending
around.
you LM2 guys just for a freaking roller coaster ride, aren't we?
First we hate you, now we love you.
It's still an El Camino.
It's just still a grocery gator,
Yeah.
but again, we're just calling it like you see him,
Yeah.
being real. We will have Ashford back on, especially hopefully in a sooner time period than between episode 3 and 235.
I'm kind of a busy guy right now, so
Yes, you are. If you need parts for your off-road pickup, I don't mean off-road as in like deleted. I mean like an off-road vehicle. Ashford, tell us how to get a hold of you for off-road power products.
just email me. That's the best. That way I can get back to you when I can get back to you, because right now I'm pretty tapped out. But no, you can give us a call directly on our website. We have all the contact. You can chat, which is me. You can phone call, which is me. You can email and get me. Pretty much message us on Facebook is me. Instagram, you'll get me. So just any of those will work. Yeah.
Send a letter.
So yeah, I was gonna say
If you do send a letter addressed to Off-Road Power Products, it comes to me.
Hey, challenge. Send them a fax.
Yeah.
Do it. I'm not going to give you any other information. Send them a fax.
Side
I don't know if we
note,
have a fax
comes to
number.
me. Yeah, your faxes.
Really?
No.
It's kind of exciting. I mean, you'll just end up bringing it to me.
The website is offroadpowerproducts.com and his email is ash@offroadpowerproducts.com.
Yes, sir.
Yep, ASH@offroadpowerproducts.com. Sounds a lot like dieselpowerproducts.com. Funny how that works.
Yeah.
On purpose. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.
Bah.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at dieselpowerproducts.com.